Today's story comes from the the a-hole subreddit, and was posted by Bagels4Works and was titled, "Would I be the a-hole if I, 34 female, asked my husband's 35 male family to pay for an emergency visit which happened under their care? This weekend, my daughter, Ava, 13 female, wanted to go over to her grandparents' house to spend some time with her grandparents. My sister-in-law, 30 female, was also visiting the grandparents' house and had her coonhound named Ella. Everything was going okay. My husband and I were out enjoying a date night when we got a message from Ava that Ella tried to lunge at her, but the grandma got between them. Then we get an update 2 minutes later that the dog had bit Ava and she was bleeding. We want to go pick Ava up. There's a lot going on at the grandparents' house that day. My husband started freaking out and yelling on the way there. So I told him we should be more empathetic because the grandparents did not want this to happen either, and they're having a hard time too. The sister-in-law dogs have a history of behavioral health problems. I actually was bitten by their other dog unprovoked 2 years ago as well. However, I chalked it up to me not being smart and approaching their dog, and the dog didn't break skin. I'm a little more than frustrated that if they knew the dog had issues that it was allowed to roam the house. This dog has barked at Ava before, and it also got the grandparent in the face last night, but did not break skin. We get Ava and go home. The dog bite was on the back of the knee, and the dog did puncture skin in one spot. The puncture was pretty deep, and after an hour, it was still bleeding. I called a nurse line through my insurance, and the nurse assessed us and recommended we go into the emergency within the hour. The emergency did a CAT scans because the bite was right on a joint. The emergency decided not to stitch the wound, but they cleaned it and gave us antibiotics. Ava is okay. She had a lot of adrenaline, but she is resting at home in her room, and she is sore. The following day, I started talking to my husband about how much this is going to cost us and how we should talk to the brother-in-law or sister-in-law when he gets back in town, or talk to his parents about homeowner insurance to see if they could help. My husband doesn't want to ask for any financial help, stating that his parents wouldn't ask us if it was reversed, and his sister does not work, so they don't have money. I countered with his sister and brother-in-law just decided to buy a house worth double the value of their previous home this year. Their home was fine, and they just upgraded, and that we could probably work out something together. He told me I have always hated his family and that I'm coming after them. I told them that's not true. For example, I talked to his mom more than he does, and I was the one who calmed him down before we got to their house. I was the one who sat with his family and calmed them down and gave everyone hugs and told everyone it was okay. An accident happened. That one really hurt. We have had major difficulties with his family in the past, but we have all grown, and I really do try to do my best. Also, I would like to say that we do have a difficult relationship with the sister. The dynamic between the sister and her parents is very weird because she has health issues. She's prioritized a lot. It has happened multiple times where the sister is chosen over us. This makes asking for this even harder, as I know what is going to happen. Also, the grandparents have rented out a condo to go to the beach in a few months out of their own pocket for a family vacation for all of us. So it's difficult to want to put a financial burden on someone else. I am not asking for someone to write me a check tomorrow. Ava is safe and at home. Bills aren't due immediately, but I'm asking my husband consider asking his family for help since it was something that happened under their care at their home with their dog, and outstate the dog owner is liable for the bite. I would like to have the family consider if the home insurance would help, or if there is a way where some money can be set aside for payments. I have a high deductible plan. I have been sued for my medical debt twice by this hospital for unpaid bills, and I don't want to do it again. It is a big financial burden for us, but we wanted to make sure Ava was okay. I don't feel like we should have to front the bill. Relevant comments. Grip Lizard says, not the a-hole. Sister-in-law should be paying the bills, and her dog should be put down. Hope replied, they were talking about putting down the dog in front of Ava too. They're in the country, always at home, so I don't want them to put down the dog and Ava feel like it's her fault. They just need to find ways to keep the dog restrained away from other people or get the dog behavioral help. Wyvern Jelly says, I would get ahead of this and explain things that might to your daughter when she's had a bit to adjust. Make sure she knows that whatever happened/happens isn't her fault. No contact between her and sister-in-law or brother-in-law. Also, I would make sure this hasn't completely caused a fear of dogs. They're everywhere, and I hate to see people afraid of them. Hope replied, thank you, I already talked to her a bit about it. We actually have our own doggies, 2 labs. When we got home last night, she cried and was loving on them. I think that will help her fear. I was also bit by a dog a few years ago and a cat. And my mom was bit by a dog as a kid. I guess we have bad luck. What I'm saying is I understand how traumatic it can be, so I'm trying to help her out. Tricky Parsnip 6843 says, Ava said she feels it was her fault. What happened prior to the dog lunging? I.e., was the dog napping and she stepped on the tail when trying to pass the dog? Hope replied, no, she just feels guilt. It was unprovoked. We had the same story from everyone involved. Ava was cutting apples. The dog howled at her. They thought the dog needed to go potty, so they took the sister-in-law, took the dog out. The dog came back and went back up to Ava. Ava jumped back a little bit because she was scared and the dog lunged for her. Fenway 12345 says, I would say you need to not bring your daughter there again until she pays. Maybe be more subtle and a GoFundMe. I hope animal control is involved. Hope replied, I totally get that too. I hesitated even letting her go this time. My mom's senses were tingling, but she's also 13, so I try to let her have a bit of decision-making abilities. Top Difficult 8754 says, tell the sister if she doesn't pay the bills, you will report the dogs. Side note, the dogs should be reported though. Hope replied, fully agree. However, they live 2 hours from us and she doesn't drive, so I'm not sure how that works. Should I report to their county? Turbulent Desk 8682 says, you're not wrong for wanting help with the bill, but it should be the sister-in-law that you ask for it. It's her dog, and the grandparents' homeowners should have to be used. It will increase their homeowner's insurance. Hope replied, that makes sense to me. The in-laws always help out the sister-in-law because they're always talking about how they don't have money. Again, I don't know their financial, but they did buy a new house. I would like my husband to call the brother-in-law when the brother-in-law gets back in town. He is the one who manages the finances and works. Also, he is the level-headed one, so I think it'd be easier to approach. I don't want their insurance to go up either. I was just thinking maybe it wouldn't be as much as a burden to the sister-in-law if the insurance covered it. I also highly expect the grandparents to try to pay for the sister-in-law if they knew we were asking for money, which I don't want them to have to do. Oddworth 7752 says, you are totally enabling both irresponsible and potentially dangerous behavior. Stop justifying a dangerous dog, an irresponsible owner, and start protecting your kid. Hope replied, okay, well, I will go scorched earth. My husband will hate me. My in-laws will not invite us to vacation that's supposed to happen in September on my daughter's birthday, and I'll put a huge dent in my marriage and family relationships. It's not easy to make decisions. It's not black or white. Leah Jati says, everyone sucks here. You literally left your child in a home where dogs roam freely, and you have been bitten. So this is a known issue. The greater asshole are the owners of dogs that attacked humans. You report the bite to the authorities, you sue them for compensation, and you move on with your life. Their dog hurt someone. It's their responsibility to pay for damages. Hope replied, it's fair to say that, and it's okay to judge. However, we did not know the dog would roam free. When the dog is at the in-laws, it's typically outside on a lead or in a cage. Again, my mom's sense were tingling, but it was an accident all around. No one wanted it to happen. Their other dog who bit me passed away of health issues. This was a communication issue on my part, so I can see your point. I should have confirmed the dog would be put up. I just assumed the best and didn't expect the worst. They are still family, and I trusted them. STN 1217 says, yes, the a-hole. If you know your in-laws don't have the money and that the owner of the dog doesn't have a job, then why even consider trying to get money from them? Your insurance should cover the emergency visit as well as the CAT scans. And even if it doesn't, it was your decision to call a nurse and to take their advice to take Ava to the emergency rather than clean Ava's dog bite and put some Neosporin on it yourself. Hope replied, we cleaned the bite and it was bleeding for an hour. It was something we actively review before we took her to the emergency. I have a high deductible health plan and will have to pay everything towards that. Southern Rain 5775 says, if you've been sued twice for unpaid medical bills, why have you not gotten PPO insurance instead of high deductible? So you don't have bills you can't pay? This is something I'd 100% have my own health insurance pay. It wouldn't even be a second thought. If it were a stranger's house or a stranger's dog, maybe I'd think about having their homeowner's insurance cover it, but not if it's family. Hope replied, "It costs 200% more to be on PPO. It would be an extra $450 a month. It's a lot, and even with PPO, it's still a $2,000 deductible, then 80 on 20 coverage instead of $6,000 plus the extra premium. It would actually cost about the same out of pocket in the end. Even if I had PPO today, I'd still end up paying." Update. Hi all. Yesterday, I posted about my daughter Ava being bit by my sister-in-law's dog. I deleted the post because it's been a very emotional few days, and frankly, I could handle the internet. A lot of you said to validate that the dog was vaccinated for rabies. I'm so thankful for everyone's seriousness because it wasn't vaccinated. Today, I called the sheriff and reported the bite so we can take next steps to make sure the dog is quarantined and managed appropriately. I told the family, so they were aware. I'm following up with Ava's primary care tomorrow to see what the medical opinion is on if we should go ahead and get the rabies shot. Their office is closed now, or else I call now. My husband went over to their house today and confirmed the sister will pay our bills. This was covered without any hesitation. I'm still not okay with my husband's response. We slept apart last night, and we have therapy this week which we'll use to find a way to heal. Lastly, and sadly the family has canceled the vacation, which we figured would be the response. Thank you again for really pushing for the confirmation on vaccines. We're taking every step to make sure that the dog is quarantined and our daughter's safety is top priority. Relevant comments. Why are you waiting to ask your daughter's doctor about rabies shots instead of getting them immediately? Hi, I'm not sure I understand what you mean on vaccinating my child to being with. It's not a preventative shot that's offered here. We did not know the dog was unvaccinated until tonight, and I followed up with a nurse and medical advice and the sheriff. I'm following exactly what the medical professionals are telling me to do. I absolutely promise don't want daughter to die of rabies, and I'm doing everything in my power to protect her. Yep, exactly, the dog is quarantined. There is a reason dog to human rabies transmission is low in the United States. It's because our system works, and I'm following the system and every single professional advice I've gotten in the last 24 hours. I'm doing everything I can. That's good to know. Thank you for sharing. I'm following up again with her primary tomorrow, and we have an appointment Thursday, so I will get medical advice on next steps on what to do. Why wasn't the emergency already offering rabies shots? And how did the dog end up being unvaccinated? I agree. I guess they took this dog to the vet multiple times this year, and the shot wasn't offered, but it is on the owner as well for not understanding. The rabies vaccine here comes with a paper and a tag. Why isn't the dog being euthanized to test for rabies? When did the bite happen? It's not dead in our area. You have to quarantine it for signs of rabies for 10 days. This is why I'm also calling Ava's DR to follow medical advice. No, it happened Saturday. Question: since the dog is known and can be quarantined, what are you doing now? Agree, this is what I was told. And this is a dog who has owners we know. It wasn't loose. Very reassuring, thank you. I'm on the phone with the nurse now. The good news is we know the dog. It wasn't a stray or on the street. I just don't want to take any chances, so I'm asking the nurse for medical advice. The bite was on the knee. The nurse gave me the protocol, and I went over the info. The dog will be watched for 10 days. I will follow up with my pediatrician on the phone tomorrow and an appointment Thursday. People are saying you should ignore the nurse and animal control and immediately get rabies treatment. Why are you waiting? I'm following the instructions I've been given, but I will see if I can get a hold of an all-call pediatrician. I just called the nurse line for her pediatrician, and I'm following protocol from animal control and the nurse. Yes, of course, I would not leave that information out. I told the nurse exactly what happened. I'm not messing with my daughter's health. I did call, and I'm calling again in the morning. Why didn't you vaccinate your daughter against rabies beforehand? What do you mean not vaccinated my kid? You have said this twice. I'm not against vaccinating my child. I have an appointment on Thursday with a primary. I called the emergency on-call nurse tonight. I called the sheriff's office. I called my animal control. And I'm calling her actual pediatrician again tomorrow. I am following every single professional person direction. Okay, got it. Agree, in the United States, it's not even offered or talked about. I just got her 12-year shots last summer. We don't have that option here. How did you react when you learned the dog wasn't vaccinated for rabies? I agree. I was so angry I hung up on my husband when he told me. The second story is from Entitled People subreddit. It was posted by Your Royal Garbageness and was titled, "Brother Want Me to Take a Loan Out for My Mom's Funeral." All involved are over 30 years of age. Background: I come from an Asian family where the daughters are considered outsiders, as in not part of the family anymore, once married, so daughters are guests now, and the sons are valued more. Once parents passes away, it's the son's duties to do the funeral. Funerals can last up to 3 days. It is very tedious, long, and exhausting. Ever since I finished high school, my many siblings basically dumped my parents onto me to be the sole caretaker. My dad passed shortly after I finished high school, so I've been caring for my mom. My siblings never bothered to come help me care for my mom, and even when my mom asked them for help, they always refer it back to me. So I've gotten used to doing everything myself. They barely even came to visit my mom. My life had been put on hold to care for my mom for over a decade. I have a lot of resentment for my siblings. Over the years, her health slowly declined. She got a stroke 2 years ago. Before she came home from rehab, I told them I would need help caring for her. I said the same thing before I went back to work because we could not live on just a few hours of personal care aid income, as it doesn't pay much either. I had requested more PCA hours, but was only given a few extra hours temporarily. None of them came to help. Even my brother, who lived with us at the time, didn't help. She was put in a nursing home. Present: my mom passed a few weeks ago. Today, my brother texted, "Do you want me to go take out a $10,000 loan because the life insurance check might not come in time before the funeral to pay for the funeral?" My mom had paid for the life insurance herself because she doesn't want us going broke from paying for a funeral. She had said to me that she only wants a 1-day funeral, yet my other brother wants a 2-day to look good in front of relatives. In this community, people like to criticize and gossip. And of course, most of my siblings are very bad with money, so none of them, especially the sons, have money saved. They don't qualify for a loan either. Now, with how I've barely gotten any help, I think I've done my part while my mom was alive, so it's my siblings' turn. This funeral isn't even for my mom, but to look good in front of my relatives, so I've put my foot down and said I was not helping with anything money-wise. I told my brother I wasn't taking any loans out. It was their turn to figure things out. He got mad and tries to guilt-trip me, saying he's the only one who cares for her funeral. I said I spent this long taking care of her, while none of them did anything. He said my mom was able-bodied, so she was able to take care of herself. Excuse me? You think the only part of taking care of someone means bathing them, cooking for them, wiping their butts, and feeding them? No. Even if able-bodied, there's other aspects of caring for them, such as many doctor's appointments, waking up to take them to the hospital at 1 a.m., sleeping in an uncomfortable hospital recliner chair, calling into work because they're in the hospital so often and you don't know when the last time with them will be, being their chauffeur for their errands, amongst many other things. Of course, he didn't bother to read it and reply. Now, I hope he knows how I felt when it was all just me. Top comments. Commenter 1 says, "Your brother can take out whatever loan he wants. He doesn't want to do it, and that's why he is asking you. He feels like you're a doormat. I hope you stop allowing people to use you like this. Sorry about losing your mother. I lost mine a few years ago, and it's hard." Commenter 2 says, "If you take out any loan, your brother will find a million excuses not to ever pay you back. Don't do it. You have done enough and should not cover this expense. Your brother is a total a-hole." Commenter 3 says, "If he wants, he can take out the loan. You have done too much already." Commenter 4 says, "If you are in the United States, do not take a loan for funeral costs. Funeral homes in the United States will allow the surviving beneficiary to sign the insurance policy over to the funeral home, and they will collect on the policy once it is paid out. You will know the amount that the policy is worth and what you have to spend." Update 1. Didn't think I need an update, but boy, it just got intense. I forgot to include my gender in the first post, but I'm a female. So for some reason, when my mom did her life insurance, she made both my brother and me beneficiaries for half each. I'm not, of course, going to keep the money because she didn't want us fighting over money that she paid for it herself to use for her funeral, but welp, fighting over money we are. They all knew I was just waiting for the check to come, then give them the money. Spoiler: when it comes to money, they've always came to me to borrow money because most of them are financially irresponsible. I woke up to a whole paragraph from my brother that he's cutting ties with me, and I'm no longer his sister, how I stole a decade of SSI, Social Security income, or supplementary income, forgot which one, worth $90,000, and I should be ashamed of myself, freeloading off of my mom. He isn't going to show up to the funeral if I showed up. Dude, you can't dictate who shows up and who doesn't. Yes, my mom helped pay rent because she wanted to help her children, but I wasn't the only one who lived with her. I was just the one who lived with her for the longest, while the others lived for a few years, then moved out here and there. And it's her money, so she can do whatever she wants with it. Other than helping with rent, I paid for everything else. Spoiler: there was a time for about half a year where he couldn't find a job while living with us, yet still allowed me to steal my mom's money while he freeloaded off of us too. My sister then called me because he decided to screenshot our convo and send it to the siblings group chat. She said I shouldn't say I did everything because all I did was take my mom to doctor's appointments, and that if I said that, then what if relatives asked where all my mom's money went, then I wouldn't be able to give them all that money since I was the one taking care of her. I'm heartbroken and sad my ex-brother would go nuclear just because I wouldn't sign a $10,000 loan, and it's the end of the world now, but it's all for the better because now I see his true colors and can be guilt-free that I wasn't doing enough for my mom. He crossed a bridge and burned it, so I have one less sibling to deal with. Update 2. I wanted to wait until the funeral was over for a final update, addressing a few comments I've seen. Inheritance and funerals not costing more than a couple of thousands. The life insurance money was not an inheritance, and my mom made it clear it was to go towards funeral expenses because our funerals last for a couple days, so it costs thousands and thousands, including drinks, meals, and snacks for those days for guests. It was my older bro who had to handle funeral expenses, so at least it wasn't going to ex-bro. So unfortunately, there was no storming out of my ex-bro because I showed up. We avoided each other. On the burial day, he actually spoke to me because he misheard that my other bro borrowed money from me, which he didn't as I said no, because he already owed me thousands, so a history of not paying money back. And I was so shocked that I just automatically replied. My older sister tried gaslighting and guilting me. My other sisters helped pay for decorations of the funeral home, and I opted not to help. I wasn't going to pay a cent in helping any of them. My sister said that it wasn't to make themselves look good. It was my mom that said she wanted her funeral to be extravagant, so she could see in the afterlife and any happy that we made her funeral look good, and I'll feel guilty if I didn't chip in. Later, it popped into my head that I should have said, so why didn't anyone do anything then, so she can actually see here and be happy while she was alive? Now that she's dead, you guys decided to finally do something for her, so you can put her on your dime and not feel guilty yourself that you barely lifted a hand while she was still living. Anticlimactic, but I'm just glad it's over so I can put this behind me and go live my life. On a much happier note, I don't think I mentioned it, but I started living my life not too long after my mom was put in a nursing home. Moved in with my now fiancé of 4 years and been living life since then. My mom passed about 1.5 months after I gave birth, so I think she was just holding on to meet my baby before she left. She got to meet and hold my baby a few times. My fiancé and I are having a destination wedding next year on our 5th anniversary. None of my siblings are invited, nor anyone from my side since I'm not close to them, but my nieces are since I'm close to them. I'm so excited. It was my fiancé that was my rock throughout all this, being there through everything, including helping me with my mom after she came home from rehab after her stroke. I have no words for how grateful I am to have him.